Welcome back to another edition of the Forts Athletics Life and Coaching Podcast. I'm your host, Charles Inferno. We're at Forts Athletics. We provide coaches and athletes with the tools they need in order to achieve their unique and specific goals. And today we are recording on Thursday, June 24th. It's the last day of school up here. And today's topic will be released, this video I guess will be released tomorrow for our Forts of Friday series that we're continuing. I appreciate the feedback and comments and suggestions and just all around great stuff from the video we posted yesterday, or I shared yesterday rather, talking about goal setting and the summer of 2003 and having paradigm shifts and just thinking about the importance of why accomplishing your specific goals are important to you. So if you haven't had a chance to check that out, that was Coach's Car Chronicles 1. This is going to be Coach's Car Chronicles 3. Yesterday we also shared a video just talking about going into more detail of making the transition at Fredonia to new coaching, and just some tips and suggestions for athletes as they think about goals. And over the summer, really right now, we have about 12 weeks until kids return back to campus. Student athletes, I always refer to them as kids because they're my athletes, they're my kids. But so we have 12 weeks, so there's a lot of good and a lot of bad that can happen in that time, and that kind of ties into today's episode about sacrifices and challenges and adversity and things. And when I was a college athlete, I didn't really do much over the summer, and it showed during the season. But like I talked about the other day, the summer between my junior and senior year, before I was getting ready to transition to student teaching, and we had a new coach and all that jazz, I really spent a lot of time and dedicated myself to summer training because I knew that was going to be important. And I also knew that was going to be the conduit to having a successful senior campaign with the goals that I wanted to accomplish. So it took a few sacrifices, or making some sacrifices. And with watching the Olympic trials and things right now, it really gets me fired up, because whenever you hear about certain athletes and some of the adversity and some of the challenges that they've overcome, I think sometimes our college athletes take it for granted that they can just show up on a track or show up at a college and continue on with their great performances from high school without maybe having to put in as much work as they should. And in conversations with past athletes and even current ones, the summertime is a great indicator of how much work your athletes are going to put in. It's kind of like a precursor to what might happen over the course of the actual season. And for the example today that I want to share, I won't list any names, but there was an athlete that I coached one year. Actually, I coached that person for 3 years. Their sophomore year, they were teammates with a national champion thrower, and their goal was to win a national championship in the 35-pound weight throw in 2017. So Lewis won a national championship in 2016. One of his teammates, who was a sophomore, who also had an excellent sophomore campaign, indicated that he wanted to win in 17, and I thought that was kind of cool. He was already a pretty well-established thrower. He threw farther his sophomore year than Lewis threw his sophomore year, so I was like, okay, we're kind of on track here. And then we came back from summer vacation, and it was easy to tell that there was nothing really worked on the training program. So I'm not saying that they basically just sat home for 12 weeks, but they basically sat home for 12 weeks. And when I talk about sacrifices, and I've written about it before, and I've shared it with other groups that I talk to, colleges and high school, and we're not talking about giving up your whole life to concentrate on throwing. Like, that's not what this is about. But there has to be a little bit of give and take in regards to wanting to accomplish a goal, having a dream that you set for yourself, and then actually putting pieces in place to move you forward, to move you closer to actually accomplishing that specific goal. And you're going to need to make sacrifices sometimes. Doc Phillips at Fredonia always talked about friendships, social life, and academics. Friendships / social life, academics, and track. And he said you can only be good at 2 of them. And we had a lot of athletes that were really good on the social scene, and they were also really great athletes, and didn't do too well in the classroom. And for 3/4 of my career at Fredonia, I was that person too. Social life wasn't great either, but I went there to throw. So there were no sacrifices made besides my grades. But getting back to working with our current group of throwers, when I talk about sacrifices I suggest are, rather than stay up until 4 o'clock in the morning playing video games or doing social media, try and get 8 hours of sleep a night. Think about if you're going to go out with your peers and you're going to indulge and there's a track meet the next day, maybe you should think twice about indulging the night before. And I've had athletes show up to the bus hungover still, or still drunk from previous night festivities, and we just politely turn them around and send them back to their dorms. So when we're talking about sacrifices, it's little things, little boring, mundane things that we can do that actually build up over time, that we can bank this positive progress for ourselves. So in the getting back to our thrower here, he was teammates with Lewis, so he saw the sacrifices that he made of kind of giving up a social life, really investing in new technique and transitioning, spending more time in the weight room, being more conscientious about rest and recovery, and taking care of these little things that he may not have really spent that much time thinking about. Plus, he had a good cohort of individuals that he could talk to that were previous national champions, All-Americans, multiple-time national champions. So when you surround yourself with individuals like that, at least through social media, there's a little bit of a heightened sense of, I'm being welcomed into this group. Let me see what they're doing, because they're all very successful, and I want to do the same thing. So that's what I'm talking about with sacrifices, not so much my gosh, you never have to go out again, or you have to spend 2 hours a day doing recovery stuff in the athletic trainer's office. It's not really what it's about, but there has to be a little bit of give and take. If you want to be a national champion, there's some things that you're going to need to give up along the way. If you want to break your school record, or if you want to accomplish whatever it is you want to, there's going to be a little bit along the way that you're going to need to give up a little bit, or maybe not spend as much time worrying about or focusing on. So that's really what I'm talking about with sacrifices. So this particular athlete had our season, and it was pretty much downhill from the time they came on campus. So the bloom was off the rose, if you will. And we tried talking about it. We tried, figuring out what I could have done better, or what I could do better to try and get us through the season, where I anticipated he was going to be our conference champion in the weight throw, probably the state champion, and put himself in a great position to go to nationals, and that wasn't the case. And then coming back for his senior year, it was just more of the same, and just other situations that were really difficult to overcome in this particular case. And you look back sometimes as a coach, and I don't know if other coaches are going to watch this. There's that one athlete, that one, like, what if, what I could have done differently, what they could have done differently, and he is at the top of that list of what could I have done better to help them along the way. And it's just, I don't know. I think about it every day. It's just something that I wish you could have that season back, or that series of events back. But so sacrifices. You're going to need to make some adjustments in order to accomplish your goals, whatever those goals may be for yourself. So that's it for this episode. I'm trying to keep them a little shorter of our Force Athletics Life and Coaching podcast. This is Coach's Car Chronicles episode 3 of our new series, or new season. And we just spent a little bit of time talking about sacrifices. Thank you very much for watching and listening and providing feedback. It's greatly appreciated. Have a great day.